Hi, everybody. Welcome to What a Week. It's been another one. Can you believe it?
You know, I know we say this every year. It's probably starting to get old for the viewers, but I have never lived through a news cycle like the news cycle of the last couple of years. I mean, it's relentless.
Never stops.
There's no season to it. It's just constant. What are you going to do? I guess it's good for business. But
yes, for sure. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. A lot of new stuff coming out here. Let's first talk about Senator Elizabeth Warren. She's got a big announcement coming up on Saturday.
Right, in Lawrence.
Yeah, and this is kind of the timing of this new situation that she's in, apologizing, or I guess clarifying that, no, I'm not a member of the Cherokee Nation. What do you think the impacts is going to be on this story that's just not going away for her?
No, it's not going away, and in part because she and her people have handled it poorly. Going back 7 years, this is 7 years this has been around. The 2012 race with Scott Brown is when we first heard about this. And, you know, rule A1 of politics is, first of all, when you're getting ready to run, you do oppo research on yourself. And if there's anything in there, arrests, embarrassing photos, you identify it, assess it, and figure out a way to bring it out before your enemies do. So you can control the story, and it's not this endless drip, drip, drip. And that's what we've seen now. 7 years of drip, drip, drip. Having said that, Chris, to me, this latest story is a good example of what a weird sort of non-story this is. She submitted a registration card to the Texas bar after having been admitted to the bar. So this was not like a way to get admitted or to clear some hurdle, in which she was asked about, ethnicity, and she wrote Native American. Well, okay, her DNA test showed that way back, 7 or 8 generations back, there was a small measure of Native American lineage that she can claim. No one's ever refuted her claim that it was a big part of family lore. Okay, so should she have been going around identifying herself as Native American? You know, you could make up your own mind on that, but the bottom line is there's yet to be a shred of evidence that she used this as a way to gain advantage, get into the bar, get hired as a teacher by a law school. Nothing. If there were, that would be a big-time problem, because voters don't like that, the idea of exploiting your ethnicity for advantage.
Right.
But until such time as there is, I'm just sitting here thinking, really? People are saying she should drop out of the race now? Plenty to criticize about Liz Warren. I don't think this really has much to it, but we'll see.
We'll see. Her opponents are doing a good job of just keeping this up in the news cycle, though, against her. That's a distraction.
I've never seen a more effective smear campaign based on something with so little substance, but that's politics.
All right, let's talk about State of the Union. President Trump gave his second State of the Union address this week. And I guess, depending on who you talk to, but overwhelmingly in the CBS News poll that came out right afterwards, Republicans loved it. Independents overwhelmingly liked it. And, Democrats, I think about 30-ish% approved of it. So overall, do you think good performance? And what about the substance of the speech?
If he had wrapped it up after about the first 15, 20 minutes, I think it would have been if not a home run, then a double off the wall. Because he focused on the economy. And the economy is good. More people are working. Wages have crept up. That's great news. And interest rates still remain historically relatively low, even though they've been inching up a little bit too. But then he wandered off into the whole immigration thing, it seems to me, has been a huge loser for him, by contrast with the campaign, where it was at the heart of his success as a candidate. But, now, this coming week, we're coming up to the deadline for having to reauthorize all this funding. So you could see another government shutdown. Failing that, he could use his emergency powers to move money from other accounts to start building his wall. I mean, I think if either of those things happen, whatever gains or good feeling was generated by that early emphasis on the economy in his speech will dissipate fast. We'll see.
I want to ask you two things about this. So obviously when you focus on the economy and the economy is doing well, it's obviously going to be a home run because Americans eat that up. We love that.
Absolutely.
But why do you think, even though the economy is doing so well, and that is a great job, that there are still some sort of inflated facts that this administration keeps using in it, rather than just use the regular numbers, which are awesome?
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, because there are plenty of true numbers that you can point to that are great. I noted when I was live tweeting the State of the Union the other night, at Keller at Large, by the way, that there were a couple of areas. They claimed that we lead the world in oil and gas production. No, that's not true. We do very well, but we don't lead the world. There are another couple of unnecessary misstatements of fact, to put it politely, otherwise known as lies. I don't know how to explain it other than there's a love of lying within that White House, or a feeling that they can just get away with it, that a lie circles the globe, to repeat the old cliche, before truth can get its pants on. And I think maybe there's something to that, sadly.
All right. And my other question was, obviously he's now dealing with a divided Congress, and there was a lot of shots being taken at, especially, the oversight committees, and saying, watch out for the presidential harassment. You can't be hindering the economy because of these investigations. What do you think, that kind of play was?
Here's the play. If impeachment starts to really pick up momentum, if the Mueller report is a bombshell, keep in mind impeachment is a political process. Right now, and you've seen this over the last 2 years, Republicans in Congress, especially in the Senate, are too afraid of the potential backlash from Trump lovers in their states or in their districts to really take him on in any meaningful way. And this was true of Richard Nixon back in the 1970s, high popularity ratings and so forth. In Nixon's case, once the tapes came out showing that he was a liar and a crook, the public support collapsed, and immediately thereafter, the political support collapsed. So the Trump play is to do your best to build up sandbags and make sure that nothing breaches the wall of Trump support, albeit only 35, 40%, whatever it is. Because that, in turn, will shore up the political support he needs to avoid the worst-case scenario. We'll see if it works, Chris.
All right, speaking of kind of segueing now, former Governor Weld of Massachusetts has now gone from Republican to Independent, now back to Republican. Libertarian, sorry. Libertarian, back to Republican Party. Gearing up, you think, for a primary?
Kudos to Commonwealth Magazine for digging out that fact that he had switched his registration to Republican. I guess he's gearing up for something. The buzz is that he's considering challenging President Trump in the Republican primaries. Good luck to him. I wouldn't bet a nickel on it. Bill Weld is a fine man, was a good governor, and certainly, entitled to do whatever he wants. But I think he's just someone who loves the limelight a little too much, and it's overwhelming his common sense in this case. A New Hampshire primary run against Donald Trump, short of a Mueller report that is absolutely, scathing in some unprecedented way, is going to be a disaster. And also, keep in mind, a lot of Republicans, party loyalists, don't like the idea of somebody who dumped the party and now has come back into it. So, God bless him. I have a good deal of affection for the former governor. It was fun covering him. This is a little bit of madness, I'm afraid.
All right. John Keller, what a week it's been.
What a week.
And we'll be back next week
Have
with
a
the
great
next
weekend.
week. Yeah, you too, John, and all of you. Thanks so much for checking in with us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.